Welcome to an overview of the SlimCD Direct Connections API calls. First, a little bit about our company. SlimCD has been in business since 2001. We allow you to accept credit cards, debit cards, gift cards, point-of-sale checks, even electronic ACH checks, as well as EMV chip card transactions. You can use the web services we expose to integrate with shopping carts, to perform custom integrations, and for a variety of other uses. We have a variety of direct connection options that allow you to connect directly server to server or client from your client software to a server, such as a point-of-sale system or a shopping cart. These transactions can accept either credit card data, check data, or other forms of payment and return to you tokens for every transaction. Our tokens can be temporary or permanent. A temporary token only lasts for up to 5 minutes before it disappears, or until the first time it's consumed, which will also cause it to disappear. It's a great way to temporarily store some information, and we'll cover that in our hosted JavaScript solution. In the meantime, permanent tokens can be used on all transactions to do credits, voids, and even charge customers on file. We have a hosted payment page API. The hosted payment pages are pages that are stored on SlimCD servers that display in the consumer's browser, and secure sessions is the API used to control the hosted payment page. With the secure session, you can preload data into the form, such as the amount, the account number, the customer's name, etc., so that that information is available when the consumer enters their credit card details. We have a variety of reporting APIs that also let you extract data from our system so you can reconcile possibly what happened on a shopping cart or in multiple merchant locations. The headquarters location can pull the data down and reconcile against the reports they have from point of sale systems or from various other integrated systems. You can collect and pull all the data as you see fit. A lot of our products will upload signatures, including our EMV products and mobile applications, and you can download those signatures to get them for yourself for printing on point-of-sale receipts or for other purposes, chargebacks, etc. And you can also get full SlimCD receipts as well as EMV details, which we'll cover more in the EMV product line. Finally, you can launch the SlimCD client applications, so a point-of-sale system that does not want to interface with hardware or touch, store, or transmit cardholder data at all can actually launch our applications for the PC or for mobile. Similar to how a website might use the hosted payment page, our applications can be launched, collect the cardholder data, and then return the results back to the caller. So the direct connection implementations start with web service calls. These can be formatted as XML or JSON, and you can format up the document, send it to us, and whatever format you send, you'll get back. So if you formatted XML up, you'll get back XML, the same for JSON. To help in formatting the data as well as parsing the results that come back and wrapping all of the actual communications, the HTTP post, we've provided a variety of languages, libraries in different languages that include .NET, PHP, JavaScript, and we've also got Java for Android, Objective-C. And of course, you can always use the direct web service calls yourself from any of those platforms as well. We have a variety of source code that shows how to use all of these libraries or the direct web service calls. The input data is formatted up and sent, and the output is parsed back into objects, and all of the results will appear as properties. And industry-specific data for auto rental, hotel industries, things like that can be put into these libraries and transmitted to SlimCD as well. There's a variety of use cases for direct API calls, even when you're out of scope for PCI. So if you're using a hosted payment page and retrieving a token, you may then later want to charge a customer on file. You don't need to display another hosted payment page if you've already got the token, so you can use our direct API calls to do that. You can also use it to process voids or refunds, and you can use it for pulling specific data out of reports, such as individual transaction details. These same tokens that we return can be used to specifically download an exact receipt or signature or email it to a customer. I mentioned we had a wide variety of sample code, and we do. The transaction processing has a standard set of 5 items that we show in all of our transaction processing samples, and in secure sessions, which are hosted payment pages, we show them both for web or for POS implementations. So there are samples that show you how to do that in a wide variety of languages. In addition, we also have a wide variety of samples and examples of how to do these things on our developer's website. If you're posting natively, again, as I mentioned, you can use SOAP XML, JSON. You can even use name value pairs. And if you're using a library, you simply set the properties of the object that you're creating, and you'll get back those properties. And I've also mentioned you can send in flex spending data, hotel data, auto rental data, etc. in the industry-specific area of each of these posts. Whatever data you format as input, you get the same thing as output. I'm going to go back to that for a minute. There's also AVS responses for address verification, CVV2 responses for the last few digits on the last 3 digits on the back of the card. If you're supporting partial approvals, which means you ask for $100 but only 80 is available, so it tells you approve but only for 80, then you get back the partial approval amount that was actually approved. That's very popular for prepaid cards and gift cards. If the transaction is declined, you get the decline reason, and of course you'll get the token that I've been mentioning. When you're sending data to Slim CD, you can use the card numbers, the track data, the chip data, or the tokens. Simply fill out the correct property or the correct tag in the XML or JSON, and it's the same API call for all of them. You can send credit, debit cards, check cards, or gift cards, again, all with the same API. An important feature is the invoice number as it appears in the reports, or the field that you use to send in the API is actually called client transref. It's the client's transaction reference. With that, if we get the same card for the same amount, then that's considered a duplicate. If we get the same card for the same amount but a different client transref, that makes the transaction unique and will let it go through. That same data is also available when you download data for reports or reconciliation as the invoice number in the response from us, and when you pull data for reports, it comes back as the invoice number as well. So that gives you a great way to tie a merchant's system to our system by putting in an order number or a room number or whatever other information is valuable for the system for which you're integrating. We support level 2 and level 3 data. Level 2 data is purchase order, sales tax, and sales tax type. That data is valuable for business card acceptance to give you the best possible rates. And level 3 data are line item details for everything that is involved with a particular sale. We also have something called Level 3 Express, which will automatically generate a line item for you that represents the entire sale, and the merchant would simply set that up on their side through our web portal, pick the default item, and the developer doesn't have to do anything. We'll automatically create all the level 3 data based on that. You don't actually have to send the line items. Industry specific data, as I've mentioned a few times, can be sent in the same web service calls with JSON or XML, or it can be placed in a dictionary for the libraries. There's an object called industry_specifics. You can put the data in, and you can put all your individual industry specific information in there. When you authenticate, you can send the client ID and password. Alternatively, you can create an API access credential, and you can also specify clerk names so that sales can be attributed to specific clerks for tip reporting in a restaurant or for tracking purposes, etc. We have a whole presentation on that, so if you're interested in seeing how that works, and we do recommend strongly you take a look at API access credentials so that you don't have passwords stored in your integrated systems, and instead if someone changes the password it doesn't affect you. So I strongly urge you to take a look at that and see how the API access credentials work. We also have a variety of different hierarchies within the Slim CD system. There's a client, but a client can belong to a chain, or a client can have multiple sites underneath it. There's a slide presentation with a video on that as well, so please be sure to check that out so you'll know a little bit more about how our hierarchy works, so you can take it to your advantage as you're structuring your merchant's footprint within our system. When a transaction is approved, you get back a variety of information, including the last 4 digits of the card, the expiration date, the authorization code. You'll also get the address verification reply and the CVV2 reply. These things allow you to do your own fraud screening if you so desire, but the last 4 digits and expiration date can be stored in your system with the token, and you can be out of scope for PCI even though you're storing that information. I mentioned before the client transref. When you perform a transaction, it does come back to you, so you can verify and synchronize things as well if you so desire. And I've also mentioned the approved amounts. If we've been able to get the first name or last name either from the user typing it in on a hosted payment page or in one of our products, or even when you send it to us, or if we can extract it from the track data when a card is swiped or an EMV chip card, we'll return that name to you as well. We have a developer's website that shows all the features of the SlimCity APIs, and I will quickly bring that over so we can take a look at it. It starts out with an Investigate tab that lets you choose which one of our APIs you'd like to best start with. You can then evaluate each one of these and the implications of using them. Some information about implementation you may want to consider. And finally, the full reference guide. So for direct connection APIs, if we're to process a transaction, the definition of everything that a transaction needs or can take is in here, and the reply that comes back from it's down here. So you can see I mentioned the auth code, the approved status, the AVS and CVV2 replies. The gate ID is your token that we've been talking about. Invoice number was sent in as client transref, comes back as invoice number. The card type, the last 4 digits, etc. Now the approved amount is here if you're supporting partial approvals. We follow that up with samples on how to do all this in all the popular languages. So we'll have samples in each of the languages that you can cut and paste, Android, etc. If you want to make direct web service calls, those are in here and available as well. So that developer's portal is a valuable resource for you, and all the APIs that I've been talking about are all documented in there, and we'll go back and take a look. Here's transaction processing, here's launch our app, here's the secure sessions for the hosted payment pages, here's the reporting APIs, here's the signature and receipt uploading and downloading. You can also validate against the SlimCity login user credentials. You may not want to do that because if you use those credentials, those can be used to log into our website. Again, I recommend API access credentials be used instead. And here's an example of an API access credential that does not have a password. It's just a credential. So if someone changes a password, it does not bring down this remotely hosted or independently operating system from a particular user ID. Very valuable. All these library entry points, I just went over this, they're also available in all the popular languages in the libraries themselves. And as we showed in a particular library, if I look at closed batch, for instance, we can see in PHP that these are simply properties on the object, and you set the properties, and when you get back the results as properties. It's all parsed out for you. Very handy, very convenient. Using our libraries is a great way to expedite your development time. You can download the libraries and get all the sample code. There's code snippets on the main web page, but we also have a download page stats.slimcity.com developers downloads. If we go to that page, we will see there are downloads by language or by technology, and you can download all the sample code we have available. If you'd like the old-fashioned zip files that have documents and everything in them, you can download these. For secure sessions, I do recommend getting this one because it does have a full manual all in one place on secure sessions showing you how to create the pages, etc. There's also a video presentation on that as well. Launching our app. Here's the Launch Our App SDK, and Pause and Web do have some sample languages that aren't contained in our website, such as older languages, Cold Fusion, FoxPro, things like that. And JavaScript, here's this hosted JavaScript solution and some samples for that. There's a lot of sample code here in a lot of different languages and a lot of different functionality. So I invite you to cruise through that and get the pieces that you need. And each of the individual technologies that we've been talking about will have check out the videos that SlimCD has available for you on those particular subjects as well. The developer website I just brought up a minute ago, and here's the developer's download page with all the information that I've been discussing and presenting. And I want to thank you for taking this time to review the SlimCD information, and we look forward to helping you. Please give us a call or send us an email with any questions you might have.